Welcome back into Second Cup. We got the Don Harrington Discovery Center here. We got Sophia Brito and Zach Adams here talking a little bit about the eclipse and a couple of events at the Wildcat Bluff. Did you guys want to go ahead and start talking about that?
Yeah, so Wildcat Bluff, you know, we always have good stuff going on, and the weather is finally nice enough where people can get outside, get outdoors, take a hike, we like to say. Up next weekend, we have our first guided hike of the year on Saturday. It's a 9 a.m. meeting time, so head to the bluff, get outdoors, and learn a bit from the Texas Master Naturalists, learn a bit about the ecosystem out there, and just, you know, take a walk, bring some friends. It's a really good time. We also have toddler tracks on Friday out there, so if you have some littles and you want to take a short little nature walk, just do something different. We do a story time, we do a craft, and then we do a short nature walk, which is optional if your little is kind of not feeling it that day. And that's happening Friday morning next week. It'll be a great time. But yeah, like I said, it's a great time to get outdoors, great weather. And speaking of, we also have a big outdoor event coming up next Monday that Zach's going to talk about.
All right, so next Monday, we're going to have the solar eclipse. It's going to be, from Amarillo, we're going to be able to see a partial solar eclipse. And then April 8th is the day that's happening, next Monday. At the Discovery Center, we're going to have a little watch party. We're going to have some food trucks out there, some little activities you can do, different ways to view the solar eclipse. But what I'm going to talk about is how the solar eclipse happens.
All right.
And we brought this little model to help show us. So we need three things for the solar eclipse to happen. We need the sun, the moon, and the earth.
Right.
So from our perspective, as the earth rotates and the moon orbits around the earth, and then the earth is orbiting around the sun. So what we need for the solar eclipse to happen is we need the moon to go in between the earth and the sun.
Right.
So when that happens, when it's the phase of the moon, we call that, is a new moon. And that's where we don't see any of the reflection of the sun's light on the moon because it is in between us and the sun.
Yeah.
But when it goes perfectly in between the sun and the earth, it can actually cast a shadow on the earth.
Okay.
And that's when we actually see the solar eclipse.
Right.
We're in the path of the shadow that the moon is casting. So in parts of the country, in parts of Mexico, United States, and a little bit of Canada, they'll actually see a total solar eclipse where the entire sun is actually blocked out by the moon. And those are more rare than partial eclipses are. But our partial eclipse in Amarillo, we'll be able to see about 84% of the sun blocked out. So it'll get actually pretty dark here during the day.
I can imagine.
But yeah, do you have any questions about the solar eclipse?
Oh, well, honestly, so I think a little bit of a question I do have. So when I was growing up, I wondered, you know, I learned about solar eclipses growing up, and I wondered, why don't we see a solar eclipse every single month, you know, when the moon is like this? And now correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you're the expert on this. But the moon isn't actually perfectly in between the sun and the earth every single month. It's either a little bit down or a little bit up, and it's actually pretty rare for it to be like perfectly positioned between the earth and the moon, or excuse me, the earth and the sun to cast that shadow. Is that?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So the moon, it looks like it wobbles a little bit. So it goes about 5 degrees between what's called the ecliptic, which is the plane that it looks like the earth orbits around the sun.
The ecliptic. I'm gonna have to remember that term.
So the moon, it kind of wobbles up and down. So for us to see a solar eclipse, it has to be right in the middle.
Right.
To where it blocks out. Because usually we see it's a little, like you were saying, it's a little above or a little too low, and it actually won't block out the sun during the new moon phase. But about twice a year, we'll actually see a solar eclipse somewhere on Earth. But they're actually fairly rare to see because you have to be in a very specific location to see the solar eclipse.
Right.
The moon has, when it casts a shadow, there's two parts of the shadow. The primary part of the shadow is called the umbra, and that's where you'll see the total solar eclipse.
Okay.
So as you're going along the path of the umbra, you can see the solar eclipse, and that'll be over like Dallas, San Antonio.
And that's where
certain
Doppler
regions.
Dave's going to be as well during our special on Monday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So he'll hopefully he gets a nice view. Hopefully the weather is nice for him to see it down there.
Yeah, you know, we're hoping that, you know, not only in the path of totality, but here in Amarillo, we can see skies stay clear enough. That way, you know, we don't have clouds completely ruining the event. But a pretty cool event. You mentioned it's pretty rare as well. The last one happened in the U.S. back in 2017. and the next one isn't going to be until 2020 or 2044, correct?
Yes, in the northern, I think it's like Minnesota, North Dakota, if I could be wrong about that, but only the north part of the United States will see that 2044 total solar eclipse. The next one close to us, and it'll actually go through the Oklahoma Panhandle, will be in 2045.
Ooh, okay.
So we got about 21 years before the next one close to us.
We got quite a bit to go to get to that one. So if you get the chance, please go out and catch this event. It's going to be super cool that you're not going to be able to see it for another 21 years. Well, an absolutely great demonstration right there. Well, Sophia, Zach, thank you guys so much for coming in and explaining all of this.